a star in the nighttime. I'ma go hard when it's my time. Yeah, I'm hard and I'm light. You know you can't pause when the time's right. Sitting in the stars and watching you. You gotta ride the tide.
Welcome to Chat Box with Sam, Season 3. Tonight's guest is the amazing Sid Krofft. Good
Well,
evening,
thank you so
Sid.
much. Thank you for asking me.
Oh no, it's an honor. It's an absolute honor. You're an amazing puppeteer. You have a great background. You were awarded a Hollywood star in 2020, and you have so much history. You opened up for Judy Garland, Liberace, and so what?
Well, a lot of stories, and I've been in this business since I'm 10 years old, and so I've been in it for 83 years, 84 actually.
With your brother
Yeah.
Marty,
Yeah.
Marty Krofft.
Yes, and I know that there must be a lot of people out there that wonder who this old man is. Well, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. You should be doing this every single day anyway. You need to ask your grandma or your mom,
Mum.
you know, I want you to call her or your grandma and you ask them if what they grew up with, because I did 26 television series, and I'm sure they were hooked on one of them.
Absolutely.
And we were on children's programming, all three networks. And I'll just throw out a couple of names of the shows. Land of the Lost. It was a huge movie with Will Ferrell, too, and a television series that is still playing. And after all these years, because I'm talking about 1969 and all through the 70s.
Yes.
HR Pufnstuf. And if you're watching in England, that was on at 7:30 at night against Bonanza. And we took the time period. And and Jack Wilde starred in it. And Jack Wilde, of course, you'll know that he was in Oliver, and he was nominated for an Academy Award. He was only 15 years old.
Wow.
But HR Pufnstuf, look it up. The Bugaloos. And the Bugaloos, because we had such a huge success in casting Jack Wilde,
right.
with his Cockney accent, that we, the second show, we went back to London and searched for the Bugaloos. That was a group that lived in tranquility.
Yes.
And sprouted wings. And if you love psychedelic, then you're going to love the show. And guess who finally picked the Bugaloos? Mick Jagger.
Oh, really?
4,000 people.
Mick Jagger.
Yeah, 4,000 people, kids showed up to audition for the Bugaloos. And Lionel Bart, everyone in England's going to know that name because he wrote the music and the screenplay of Oliver. Yeah. And like I said, Jack Wilde.
That's one amazing show. It's very famous.
And if you're American watching this show, then we did the Banana Splits. That was.
I remember that. The Banana Splits. Yes, I do. In the 70s, I was watching that on the TV. Yes. And the
Yeah,
music, and
a
they were all running
huge,
around.
huge success. But we manufactured the characters because
Right.
it was the banana splits were uh, dimensional. There were people in costumes
Hmm.
that we built and designed,
That's
and
awesome.
and the rest of the show was animation, and they would introduce the animated part of it. But they just did a movie, I think, of the banana splits.
They
I didn't
did?
see it. Yeah, and
Wow.
I didn't see it, but I heard that
Yeah,
there was
I
one
haven't
out
seen
there.
it. I haven't seen it yet. So yeah, you started so young. I know you were 10 and you've traveled the world. It says
Oh yeah,
you've met the
no,
Queen, you know, you
yeah.
opened up.
Oh my God, can we talk about that? Um,
Absolutely.
I, I performed. I was a puppeteer. That's how it all started.
Yes.
And I did not come from a theatrical family. Um, and I was totally self-taught because the very first movie that I saw, now I'm really going to put my age up there. I'm 94 years old, so I've been around, since Lincoln was the president. It seems like, you know, and and I created an act all by myself
Yes.
with puppets. And I started to say the first movie that I saw was in 1939. Never saw a movie full length or ever went to a movie theater. And that was my first movie. It was The Wizard of Oz. And I
I
knew
love that
I
movie.
wasn't tall enough. I was too tall, I mean, to be a munchkin. But,
Hmm.
and I didn't think I wanted to be an actor because I was very shy.
Oh,
And, but I knew that was the world that I wanted to live in the rest of my life.
and you
And
did.
so, yeah. And and in 1945, I traveled with the Ringling Brothers Circus
Hmm.
when the big top sat 15,000 people and there were 1,800 performers. And we traveled with the biggest menagerie, bigger than any zoo at that time. Imagine coming to your little town. We would just come in for one day, do two shows.
Yes.
The big top did, but I wasn't in the big top. I was in the sideshow with the freaks, the world's youngest puppeteer.
That's amazing, though. I mean, you've done so much. I mean, you've traveled and
Oh my God. I'm on everybody.
you've
I'm on
opened for
Instagram every Sunday
Sunday,
at
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. At three
Yes.
o'clock, and I go live. I always have an incredible guest. And Samantha, you gotta come on my show, definitely.
I would
And
be honored to be on your show,
well,
Sid. I would.
I've had so many stars on that reach out to me. Anderson Cooper watches it and my show. I'm just
Really?
waiting. Hopefully, when he gets back to America, he's over there with the terrible war that's going on right
Oh
now.
gosh,
You
yes, in the
know,
Middle East.
but
It breaks my
oh,
heart.
I've only been on for I don't know over 2.5 years,
Right.
and every week I've never missed a show. I've had the most interesting people. This last Sunday, I had a young lady. She was 26 years old,
Hmm.
from Australia. She was in Australia, lived in a little town that I think only 1,000 people.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah. And she said, you know, there was just one grocery store and she was telling us about her fantasy art. She
Hmm.
follows me because her mother was a huge fan, or is still. And oh my God, I
That's
over
amazing.
10,000 people watch
And it's
my
on
live.
Instagram Live. Instagram Live at 3 o'clock. Sid Krofft has an
Sid
amazing
Krofft,
show, and I invite my
Pacific.
guests
Yeah,
to watch
yeah,
it.
yeah. And I have the most interesting people. And of course, I talk about my life too.
Yes.
Guess what?
Well, you have an amazing life. I mean, you've,
Thank you.
as I said, Lincoln.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, you just drop a famous person's name, and and somehow I have touched or uh, I don't mean
Or
actually.
spoke to, yes,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah. Because I became in 19, I just got back from Europe.
mhm,
That's 1954 is when I did a command performance at the Palladium, but I wasn't asked in the first place. I wasn't on the program. It was a night of 100 stars,
oh,
and
nice.
Liberace, who I toured with, for many years and knew since 1952,
Wow.
starred.
All that jewelry in the piano.
Yeah, yeah. And
Mhm.
he starred in that show, and someone fell out, and it was the Queen's charity. It was a 5-hour show that she sat in the royal box and
Wow.
watched. And I wasn't asked. I was in a show in Piccadilly,
Mhm.
and it was called Pink Champagne, and I was in that show uh, about 7 months. And we were off on Sunday. Sunday morning, I got a call from the producer, or it might have been the director, and
Mhm.
said Liberace suggested that you be on tonight because someone just fell out. Because it was a night of 100 stars. You could only do 3 minutes.
Oh,
And
wow.
then the Queen came backstage with her lady in waiting,
Yes.
and we all stood in line. She came up to me, she said, "Oh, what cute little dollies." And uh, uh, I got to give you a little backstory about a dolly.
Go on then.
When I wanted my first puppet,
Hmm.
um, I went to my dad because I saw an ad in a comic book, the first Superman comic book. And there was an ad for a puppet for $3.90. And I went to my dad and I said, "Can I get that?" And he never struck me or anything like that, but he was close. He said, "First of all, you're a boy and you want a dolly." That always
Oh,
stuck in my mind, and we could feed your family for $3.90 for
it's probably
weeks.
very true, right?
Oh yeah,
Back
it was.
then, it was a lot of money.
Oh my God, it was. I mean, just the most expensive candy was Lifesavers. It was a
Oh,
nickel. It was a nickel. And I once asked my dad if I could. He said, "That's a nickel. You can get a whole bag of candy for a penny."
Mr. Croft, you had very expensive taste when you were a
Oh,
young lad.
that's what he said. Yeah. And so when you tune in and
Yes.
follow me uh, to my show,
Hmm. I
um,
follow you on Facebook. I've seen
I
your
know you do. Yeah.
Facebook. Yeah, I was sharing your stuff. And actually once I have to share that I was on Twitter and I don't know what happened, but there was a lot of people talking about Sid Krofft, right? And Guy, I have to say thank you to
He
Guy
called me
Gilchrist.
today.
Did he
God
call you?
called me.
He's
Isn't
got a
that?
nice lady
I
now.
did. Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't tell him that I was going to be on your show. Wow, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, we've been friends for a few years. We met at Comic Con. Because I know you go to the Comic Cons. You've done over 50 Comic Cons, haven't you?
No, no, I've just done a couple, but for 50 years
50 years,
I
sorry.
did the big Comic Con
Mm-hmm.
in San
There you
Diego.
go.
When it first started, maybe there were
Right.
a couple of hundred people, and we did it every single year. You know, we do a panel
Mm-hmm.
for an hour. And so, and every year I looked to see if anybody was going to show up. And it was, this is all grown-ups. The
Right.
theater would be packed, people standing against the wall, and I'd always walk out and say, "Oh God, come on. We're going to talk about the same thing. Why do you keep coming back every year?" You know?
Because I love it. I love the Comic Cons. I go to Pensacola and I do some media coverage there and I meet some guests and I love the Comic Cons, the costume, everyone's in a good mood. There's the
Oh,
comics, the puppets and the artists that are there.
no,
Fantastic experience. I suggest
like
everybody should.
it seems like millions of people,
Hmm.
the whole San Diego. You can't. We would take the train up in the morning, 7 o'clock train, because I always did Saturday at 2 o'clock. They book
Yeah,
us into the same theater, and every year. And oh my God, people grew up, the people that grew up with all my shows,
right.
it's unbelievable. They'd want to touch you and they cry, because
Oh,
it
that's
was so
lovely.
important to them. But what really blows me totally away, I'm talking about 50 some odd years ago, Land of the Lost. Yeah, 50 years ago was
I actually watched
television
one with a
there.
little girl and the monkeys, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
got lost in the dinosaurs. Yes.
No, that was a huge,
Yeah.
huge, huge hit. And it was for children, and
Hmm.
Star Trek had been canceled the year that we started. And so we got all the writers from Star Trek to do
Oh,
that
wow. That's
series.
amazing.
And oh, I don't know, I don't know how many episodes, 50 or 60 episodes. And little kids, 8 years old. I mean, we were on 10 o'clock in the morning, uh,
Mm.
understood the intense stories, complicated. Oh my God. But it was a huge, huge, huge hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as I just said, I just watched the one series with the three little monkeys, and the monkey hurt his leg. And I was like, television used to be so wonderful because it was grain, and it, we have all the AI now. But this was
Well,
TV, camera, and lights, and the simple was
no,
beautiful.
and I gotta tell you, those all our shows, as
Hmm.
elaborate as they are,
Hmm.
uh, for kids, that's they never saw anything like it. It was live action. Everything was live
Yes.
action. And I brought in from all over the world, uh, 35 little people in those
Oh,
costumes that we built. They look like puppets. Yeah.
yes, the
And
little monkeys.
and and we did, they only gave us like 54,000 an episode in those days, you know, and we always put everything on the screen. We were on all three networks, and then we went into nighttime and did the Brady Bunch hour. We did Donnie
Hmm.
Marie, Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell sisters.
Yeah,
And
did you go into adult only puppeteers? It was, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Les Poupees de Paris.
Les Poupees de Paris.
Les
Les Poupees de
Poupees.
Paris was a show. Yeah, I'm insane. You're listening to someone totally insane. Okay.
I love
Uh,
it.
yeah,
I like it.
because it just get us look at a sample of, even though it was done 50 some odd years ago, it still holds up. Watch Pufnstuf. You know,
Pufnstuf. Isn't that
Margaret,
your favorite? That is your
well,
favorite. You said that
it's
on the Walk
always
of
your
Fame.
first, yeah, it's always your first child is your
Right.
favorite. And I really appreciate,
That's
always appreciate being on someone's show, and because I always think people forgot me and what I've done because it's so many years, but you can't knock me off with a baseball bat. Too. And thank everybody out there for listening.
Thank you for being on Chatbox with Sam. Mwah.
Bye.
I'm a bright star in the nighttime. I'ma go hard when it's my time. Yeah, I'm hard and I'm light. You know you can't pause when the time's right. Sitting in the stars a while.